everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Insanity Check back. It is February 18th. For all you who give a shit, it was just my birthday. Yay!
Hey, happy belated birthday to Kennedy. You had fun on your birthday, Kennedy?
Yeah, it was a good time. Went out to LA for the first time. Never been out to LA before.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You know, I totally forgot that was your first time for whatever reason.
Yeah, I've been to Frisco. Never been to LA.
Oh, okay. When did you go to Frisco?
Years ago. Like over, maybe like 15 years ago.
Word?
Yeah.
For what reason?
Disco dancer.
That's right. I was out there for the disco dancers, everybody. It's not like dancing disco with some disco dancers on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, shit. I didn't know you even went to Frisco. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, well, I remember Brina was out there.
Yeah, that's right.
I had a good time. I didn't do any of the typical touristy Hollywood crap. Didn't go to Hollywood. Didn't go to the Walk of Fame or whatever. Didn't go to the Chinese Theater. I just didn't give a shit about that. I was up and down the Pacific Coast Highway, the PCH as the locals call it. Went to Malibu. Went to San Diego. Saw surfers, beaches, all that good shit.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a good time.
As long as it was a good time. It was a pleasure. Well, you didn't miss much while you was away. I mean, we had more slush and snow and stupid black ice.
So I heard.
All that sloppy ass shit that us New Yorkers have been spoiled for a few years. We haven't had to really deal with this kind of snow accumulation and this gooking crap outside. But it is what it is. If anybody comes from a city or a town with 4 seasons, you have to get used to this. You got to get used to blazing hot summers, and in this particular case, a very wet and slushy ass winter. So it is what it is.
Again, as we've been saying, the countdown continues. This is our second to last show. Last show will be next week. On SD World Vision, we'll be moving to television, to cable, at least local New York cable, BPN.
BPN, yeah.
Hopefully we will find our co-host. We will just call her that for the moment. Interviews will be next week. If you girls are watching, you will be getting an email shortly letting you know all the information. And so we'll be starting the new incarnation of Insanity Check.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
We'll be waving goodbye to 8 as he will be forging his empire in the new Bronx.
Exactly. A larger location to store more bags of yayo.
So it'll be good times for everybody. Once again, we'll keep you guys posted on our Facebook, our YouTube, our Google Plus, Twitter, and if I missed anything, you'll figure it out. Catch one of those things out there.
Yeah.
And again, stay tuned for our new InsanityCheckRadio.com website.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all of this kind of stuff, man. This is going to be, I guess, it's new for the people as it will for us. I mean,
right.
Different format, I'm wondering.
And the world can still watch us. We will be simulcasting either on
YouTube or Google Hangouts, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Got you.
But for right now, we will dump back into the NFL, even though football season is over.
And, some more of America's bitch-assery, or as one particular person said, the pussification of America. With this whole Richie Incognito thing with this, what's this fucking sucker's name?
Martin.
Yeah, you can see where I am. Automatically, I'm like,
Jonathan Martin.
Jonathan Martin, This is one of those kind of situations where we were on the way over here. I was like literally livid. This makes me so upset because it's like our society has been run over by this fake politically correct mess where, humans aren't necessarily the nicest creatures on this planet. We do a lot of fucked up things, and in certain situations, it brings back so many different instances where, when you say sometimes a man has to just be a man, and it usually that involves with some form of violence or taking a firm stand or a position or something like that.
Aggression.
Yeah, aggression.
Like
you just, I guess because it's testosterone or whatever, the nature of what we are, that's just the way it is. And for me, this particular story where these I'm not so much surprised that Martin, because the report came out. Basically, the report came out, and it basically itemized all of the different things and some of the direct language in which he was exposed to, which to me like I said, we say that kind of shit every day on this show, and when we're ever on the phone or whatever, that's just, I mean, ever since I was a kid, that's the way it was. I mean, we literally, before my generation, it was called playing the dozens, but in my generation, it was called snapping, and we would literally, that was the whole thing, to say the most hurtful, funny, terrible shit we could say to one another in hopes to make not only each other crack up, but the people that were spectators crack up. So it wasn't like an isolated thing. We were saying it in front of other people. We was ranking on you, snapping on you, whatever. And you were forged through this, all right. And it was, and to me, the NFL, when you're dealing with a sport where you have to go out there and wreck your body while trying to wreck another person's body to maintain an objective, and then to do that every single week, it requires a certain type of individual. Now, if you're a dude that works at a packing plant or an accountant or something like that, you might not be like, hey, I'm not going to do that. You mean I'm going to wreck myself and get a concussion on Monday and I got to be back out there on Sunday? These people not only do that, they want to do it. If you ask any of, you see these shows with the older NFL players that's 60s and 70s, they say if they could play one more game and go through that same tournament, they would. They would if they could. So this is just one of the most polarizing things. It is between the real and the fake, because the reality is all of these fake journalists and these phony ex-athletes saying that, oh, well, I've never heard that kind of language before. It's full of shit.
Yeah. Because and we're not saying that, and first of all, I'm pretty sure, and again, we don't profess to know the world, we don't profess to be experts on sociology, we don't profess to be experts on the NFL or anything like that, but it's just a certain amount of knowledge you gain after certain amounts of years on this planet and in a certain particular country, and observing certain things that you just kind of just know what the deal is. We're pretty sure this is not the first time some dude has gone into the NFL and was like, you know what, this is just not for me. I can't hack it.
Yeah, I don't like this.
But the fact of the matter is, the NFL is decades old. Okay, and imagine what was going on back in the '60s.
Oh, I thought about the same thing. I mean,
when some white dude called you a nigga, and he really meant it.
He really,
for fucking real.
He really meant, you are a black dog nigga for real. And he would hope that you would lose your temper and control, maybe get thrown out of the game, maybe you were the team's best player,
fucking arrested or
whatever,
some shit.
Get arrested, whatever it is, to gain an advantage. It could have been fueled by whatever, but that is the reason why, this whole thing about culling the herd. I mean, certain people are cut out for certain jobs, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, don't mention this in the military in the same breath. But I read a lot of the comments, and some of the people chimed in from the military, and they said, we've said a lot worse stuff to one another, out there being deployed or whatever. Our drill sergeants said a lot of worse stuff. I think about the movie Full Metal Jacket, where the guy was screaming and cursing at the fat guy, calling him everything under the sun. And then when the two guys were actually, if you watch that movie, it's Joker and Cowboy. They're in the latrine mopping, and the guy's like, yeah, I want to stick my tube steak into your sister. I want to do this to your mother. And they're just going back and forth while having a conversation, because that's what guys do. And then it brought me back to the slogan, the saying when they advertise the Marines, and they say the few, the proud, the Marines. They don't say just the proud, the Marines. They say the few, because they realize not everyone can cut it to become a Marine. If you want to be a Marine, you got to go through whatever it is to thin the herd until they get the best of the best. And that's how it is in this, because as an offensive lineman, an offensive line, you're only as strong as the weakest link. And this guy has basically shown every defense out there he is sensitive to a bunch of bad foul language. So let's see, what do you think the down linemen are going to be saying to this dude?
But even though, I just want to make this clear, even though he participated in said language himself with this other individual. Yeah. So it wasn't like he was like, please, Richie, stop talking to me like that. Please, my mommy doesn't like when I say these bad words. No. He went for it, and maybe he was uncomfortable doing it.
Yeah, see, he might have just did it to fit in, right? Or whatever. I understand that. And we're not advocating bullying, okay? But,
real bullying. I'm really fucking tired. Again, I think I said this like that. My brother, like I said, we talk about. He's like, yo,
that's a real.
And my brother is a fucking computer technician. He has a house in the suburbs. He fucking has a wife and 2 kids, 2 cars, the mortgage, the whole 9 yards.
And he's a professional at doing the Carlton Banks dance.
Well, actually, he does the robot. But that's another story altogether. point being is my brother's not in the streets. He's not, did 10-year bid and no stupid shit like that. He's pretty much one of the softer ones that we know. And he said, he remembers back in the days when bullying was actually getting your ass beat.
Yeah.
Now people saying foul shit to you because this is what we did.
Yeah.
See, and frankly, I don't give a shit if you people don't understand. This is how it is. You don't understand why lions want to eat you, but that's how it is.
Man,
There's certain shit you don't do to fucking lions, and there's certain shit you can say, you don't say, you will say, you won't say to dudes and other dudes, and that's just how it is.
yeah, for me, bullying, like I said, it's not like they was ramming this fucking dude's head into the locker or something like that, but this foul language, and my thing is, okay, if he was so sensitive that he could not stand up for himself verbally or felt uncomfortable because that wasn't within his character, and he didn't want to just cold knock this dude out if he felt that the bullying was real and Incognito didn't realize how much pressure he was putting on him psychologically and mentally, but then to go not upstairs within the organization, go, listen, man, I can't hack this. You need to tell this dude to lay off me, or to tell the team, listen, y'all, I'm not cut out for this, yo. I understand how this locker room is, but you know what? I'm not rolling with that. I'm bouncing. He decided to leave, abandon the team, and then start ratting everybody the fuck out and cause this big, horrible maelstrom. I'm like, no. See, he could never go on another team. He could never, because first of all, I won't trust him. I won't trust the fact that he will be able to hold his resolve in a situation of extreme adversity. A big mouth, shouting defensive lineman that's passing him and beating him to the quarterback and rubbing it in his face. I don't know if he'll be able to dig his heels in and deal with that. And then also, I don't want this motherfucker in the locker room, because if I'm saying a whole bunch of foul shit to, I don't want him ratting me out. These guys are terrible too. Andre says something terrible and Ken says something. No, I would not want that motherfucker anywhere around me. It could be my friend and everything off the field, on the football field, in that locker room. I don't want that fucking dude, man. And to me,
well, look, I mean, it's clear. I mean, and again, as horrible as it may sound, I'm willing to bet, Incognito gets a job before Martin does.
He should, because at the end of the day, okay, he's an asshole, he's a jerk, he's all these different things, but they said he was 1 year removed from being in a Pro Bowl. And to get a good guard that could actually do his job well, there's a real premium on that, because the best position, or the most coveted position, is the most protected position, is the quarterback. And those guys' jobs is to prevent people from smashing into him and hurting them. So that dude could obviously deal with language. He might, if anything, might come back with something a little bit more harsh than maybe you'd be accustomed to, but you don't have to worry about his emotional state when it comes to that. He might fly off the handle and be like a steroid head jerk, but you know what? It's the NFL. I'm pretty sure that's not the first time somebody is a loose cannon or something psychologically. I can run down a litany of people. It doesn't even, just do your research. And more importantly, he's good at his job. This dude, Martin, apparently physically is able to do his job, but emotionally and psychologically he can be talked out of being effective, and that's therefore you're of no use.
And quite frankly, look at Vince Young.
Oh yeah,
he had a winning record. He's a good football player, but he doesn't have it up here, which is why he is unemployed and has been so for like the past 2-3 years.
And I said I would not have that man on my team because emotionally he couldn't hack the rigors. The fact that his coach didn't like him,
and the fans booing him.
And the fans booing him. They're paying whatever their money they're paying, as long as they're not throwing buckets of piss on you. I mean, you just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, listen what the Jets went through on that fucking butt fumble game. They cursed the living shit out of these guys. To the point to where, it was just awful. There's things they were saying to these guys. You just have to deal with it. So this, I think we really need to, and another, just same subject, but, I remember that an incident when Russell Crowe got into that argument and he threw that phone at that concierge or whatever the person was. And the guy didn't jump over the counter and start dealing with Russell Crowe, or didn't pick up the phone and throw it back at Russell Crowe. The guy basically went and called the authorities, and Russell Crowe was like, yo, back, where I come from, where I, chose or claimed as in Australia, he's like, yo, we would have just settled it. They would have just been like, oh, you threw a phone at me? Okay, let's go. And to me, that's what a man does. And if he can't do it, this cowering, I'm sorry, that's just me, You know, and it's not like I'm the biggest, baddest Kung Fu Brown, because I'm not. You know, I can get knocked out just like anybody. But it's what I'm going to be doing when I'm getting knocked out, which is trying to defend my fucking self against this kind of nonsense. And if that doesn't work, like I said, unless you're born out of the back of your head, I'm coming back.
And this is, of course, if you can't talk it out.
If you, of course, obviously doesn't mean you have a piece of fucking raw meat dangling from your bottom lip and shit like you're a savage. I'm not saying being a man is a wild beast, savage animal, but to me, like I said, everyone has a station in life. You know, some people are cut out to do certain jobs, and this man, emotionally and psychologically, obviously he had the physical attributes to be there, but he psychologically couldn't deal with it. And apparently, according to the report, he has suffered these types of issues way before he entered into the NFL. So for him to try and make it seem like the Dolphins locker room and their uncontrollable nature is what caused him to have this breakdown to where he wanted to kill himself not once but twice, according to what the thing said. Yeah, he called his mom talking about I want to kill myself and all this other kind of shit. You know, he was suffering from these things before he even entered the NFL. Yeah. So you can't blame it on the NFL. You know, you were a weak-minded individual and couldn't take this kind of verbiage and language before. So,
and that's it. And if you think, you know, we're being harsh or, you know, we're being insensitive, you know, again, there's plenty of other places where this dude can get a job.
Yeah,
the NFL just doesn't have to be one of them.
He could be my best friend. I would have no problem. Not everybody, but if I was on that line and I needed to know that the dude to the left or the right of me is going to hold his position and we're going to be able to do it, because believe you me, if he keeps getting beat and that quarterback starts getting fucked up and the GM is like, yo, we're going to clean house, I might lose my job because of this motherfucker. Yep. You know, because he might let somebody get around and then I don't, you know, I get beat, you know, because there's overloading the side. There's too much that can go wrong. I don't want the dude there. And that's just it. But he could be any place else, you know.
Yeah. Well, good luck to both of them.
Yeah. Learn to kick or something. I don't know. But yeah.
We'll be back in a couple of minutes, y'all.
We try